Hi everybody, I'm Beth from Restyle Pieces Boutique. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different in some of my videos. I'm going to call this Makeover Minutes. And Makeover Minutes is going to be just like a smaller project or a subset of a bigger makeover. So it won't be a huge long video that's a makeover from start to finish. It may be start to finish on a shorter little craft or project, but it's just something a little smaller and a little easier. So today's makeover minutes, I'm going to be taking a chair and I'm going to be removing the fabric and everything on that chair because it's old. And then I'm going to be replacing it and upholstering it. So I'll show you step by step how to take the fabric off the chair, how to reupholster the chair with the padding and the material. So if you want to watch this makeover, stay tuned. So I had unscrewed the bottom of this chair cushion off, and you can see that it is in really bad shape and it has like 2 layers of different material on it. So I just took my painter's tool and a hammer and I just kind of work all those nails out. They use nails instead of staples. So I just work all those nails out and I try to get that cover off. As you can see, it takes quite a bit of time and patience, but it pays off in the end. Layer number 1 is removed, and there we have that gorgeous black and flowered layer number 2. So I got the second layer off and then this nasty foam, whatever it was, filling, and I just said, that's going in the trash. We're gonna get these other nails that I couldn't get out, that I just kind of ripped everything out. I pulled all those nails out and now I'm sanding it down. I didn't show this part, but I did clean off that piece of wood before I got it all sanded down well. And now I'm taking this piece inside to my dining room table because sometimes that's just where I do the projects. So to reupholster, I'm using staple puller, hammer, an electric staple, some spray adhesive, and this electric carving knife that I really like using. The material, the wood, a dust cover for the bottom, the Dacron, and of course my 1-inch foam and scissors. And all this will be down below in my description, and you can find all those materials on my Amazon shop. So I'm tracing the bottom of the chair seat, and I'm going about a 1/2 inch outside the seat, just to make sure I cover the edges of the seat. See how easy that was to get that cut with the bread knife? I then spray some adhesive on there, and then I push it down so that my foam will kind of stick. You want to make sure that the side that you is the bottom is actually the bottom, and that's where all the holes are. So I cut some Dacron about 2 or 3 inches too long, and I'm going to start stapling these in the middle of the back and the front. So you staple in the middle, and then I put a couple of them on outside of that, and then I go to the opposite side. So each time you do this, even with your fabric, you're going to the opposite sides. And then I'm putting 3 or 4 staples in each side. And then now I'm going to do my corners, and I'll show you how I do that. I pulled it up in the middle, and then I'm just going to staple that a time or two. And then I'm going to fold over my other edge a little bit, pull that tight, staple that, and do the same for the other flap. I do this on all 4 of the corners, and then I trim off the excess. Time for my fabric now. I put it inside, or I put the cushion down on the material, on the inside of the material. And then I'm going to cut, 3 or 4 inches all the way around so that I'll have plenty to work with and I don't have to worry about it being too short or making it difficult to pull it taut. Now with the material, I am putting a staple in opposing sides again, top and bottom, and then left and right, or whatever you want to call it, but opposite sides. I want to make sure my pattern is straight. I'm checking that when I turned it over. That's what I was checking to see if my pattern was even on both sides and if it was straight. So now I'm just stretching my material and I'm going kind of up and then to the side, if you can see out to the side. I hold that down and I staple about 1 or a couple inches from the corner. So I'm working on the one side right now, and then I'll move to the opposing side. Sometimes it helps to put it under your arm and just stretch and push from the front of the cushion so that you can have a nice stretch and get it nice and taut that way. So then you go back and fill in between those staples on one side and then the opposing side. Each time you work the opposite sides and you're filling in, pulling tight and filling in the staples. Now I'm starting with the other 2 sides, opposing sides, and I'm pulling it out and down and I'm making a nice stretch, and then I'm stapling this whole side I will do, and then the opposite side. You can kind of see if there's any puckers in the side or anything, and you need to take one of your staples out or take a couple of them out even and make them a little looser or a little tighter. You'll see when you turn it over and check it from time to time if you need to switch out any staples. And I did have to remove and replace 2 or 3 staples during this project with my material. So I'm checking again and it looks straight and all my sides are looking pretty smooth. So I shouldn't have to remove any staples right now. So when I stretch, I don't use like 2 fingers. I try to use my whole hand or 2 hands and then hold it down and staple. It just makes a better stretch and less puckers. And here coming up, you can see that I remove a staple because it was not quite tight enough, and that's fine. So when I removed a couple of them and I tightened it, it looked much better. Again, as you do these sides, make sure you leave 2 or 3 inches to the corner so you don't go all the way to the corner and staple, because then it makes it harder to do your corners and you'll have to take a staple or 2 out. And now I'm finished with all the back and forth, and I'm going to do my corner. So I do that just like I did the Dacron filling. I pull it taut in the middle of the corner, right at the corner, and I put a staple in there. And then this has a lot of fabric on it. So I'm going to cut that fabric. Now you got to be careful. You want to pull it out like it's a little butterfly or bat or something, and then you cut at 90-degree angles. You cut it even with the edge. So see how I'm cutting 90-degree angles toward the corner, and I did the same thing on the other side just to get rid of some of that fabric. You don't want it too bulky. So then I roll it under a little bit, and I pull it to the other side, fold it to the other side, and then I staple to make my pleat. I'm going to do the same thing for the other corner. So I'm going to roll that over. I don't want those edges sticking out. And I realized I had quite a bit of material there, so I'm getting rid of a little bit more. Rolling that over, pulling it to my 90-degree angle as well as I can. It's a little difficult here. So rolling it over, pulling it to the other side, about a 90-degree angle, and then I'm stapling it. I'm doing the same thing with those other corners, and then I'll trim. Notice I'm always going back and flipping it over and checking my edges to make sure there's no puckers and everything's straight. So do that every once in a while so you can know that you're going in the right direction. Every time I do staples, remember to always pull taut. You don't want to just staple it across and you haven't pulled it at all. So I'm pulling. I roll it, I fold it over to the other edge, and I staple. This is only my third upholstery piece that I've done, and it's turning out really well. So if I can do it, you can do it. Just takes a little practice, and sometimes you may have to remove some of your staples here or there, but it can be fixed and those puckers can go away. So I've got all of that trimmed off. Now I'm using the cambric dust cover. You don't have to do this, but it's just another little extra thing to do to make it look finished and keep the dust out. So I cut this piece about the same size as my cushion, and then I'm just folding the little edge over. I cover those staples that I've already stapled that are in the material, and then I'm just stapling all the way around. You don't have to pull super tight or anything with this dust cover. Just make sure that it's smooth. And there it is. So it's finished. It's ready to be screwed on to the chair again. And here we go. I love this color, Graja Blue, that I painted this desk/vanity. I love the details. And that cushion just goes so perfectly. It looks just beautiful. So thanks for watching this Makeover Minutes today on my YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe, subscribing to a YouTube channel is just like following, like when you follow someone on Facebook or Instagram. So it's just following my channel, and then if you hit that little bell button down there, you'll get notified when I have new videos that come through. And I hope you'll join me and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.